Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the next episode of That's My Opinion. As everybody knows, we've got a big election coming up, April 2nd. Probably some of the things we need to be thinking about is the running of our fair city here. We've got several good aldermen on the board now, and my opinion is we don't need to replace them. We've got some good aldermen that's worked hard the last few years to try and forward the city, trying to make things better. The current alderman that we've got now has taken the necessary steps to reinstall the city administrator, which is a good thing, which I don't understand why Mayor Sconce and Alderman Leifert's been fighting it so hard. It doesn't make any sense to me. I know Alderman Leifert tried to make a statement the other night at the board meeting, and stating that there's nowhere that says we have to have a city administrator. And that's correct. He was right with that statement. But what he didn't say was that once you've taken the steps to have a city administrator, in order to eliminate that position, you have to go through the process of you've got to get 25% of the voters, the number of voters from the last general election, to sign a petition, and then they need to present that petition to the board, and the board needs to vote on it, and then it goes on the ballot to be voted on by the citizens. That's the only way you can eliminate a city administrator. And the reason is there's 2 or 3 different forms of government in the state of Missouri. It's mayor, alderman, I believe it's trustees for villages, and then the other form of government is mayor, city administrator, alderman, or alderman, mayor, city administrator, whichever way you want to say it. But once you've taken that step to have a city administrator, which Troy did a number of years ago, the only way to get rid of that position is to vote it out. And our city administrator has never been voted out, so nobody's taken the necessary steps to get rid of city administrator. So, well, yeah, the fact is we have to have a city administrator. That's by ordinance, that's by state statute. You can look that up in Chapter 79 of the state statutes and Chapter 115 of the city ordinances. So, at one point, Alderman Leifert was correct. We don't have to do it, but since the city had some foresight years ago, knowing that the city was going to grow and they were going to need some guidance and some help, they decided that we needed a city administrator. So, the only thing I can say is, if you don't want a city administrator, take the steps to eliminate the position. But I think you'll fail, because the current trend is most cities are going to a city administrator, mayor, alderman type government, and it looks like it's here to stay. So I know City of Troy needs one really bad. Because things that we've got going on in this city is not working at all. Our infrastructure is failing. We're losing police officers. We're losing city employees, and it's all because the people we got running things don't really want to change. They don't really have the expertise to manage a city the size of Troy. And thank God we've got some aldermen that have decided that that's the direction that we need to go, that we need to get the city administrator back into office, or back into his position, put it that way. This Michael Quezada, and he was recruited by, I believe, Gary Leifert and Kay Dykemper, and they fought against the city administrator. So I was reading Mr. Gazzeta's piece in the paper, and he says he's for a city administrator. See, that's what I don't understand, why these people are fighting so hard to eliminate the current board members when they've already gone that direction. And, Mr. Gazzetta might be a fine young man. I don't know. He's only lived in Troy, maybe 3 years, I think is what they said. Has no experience in city politics. And he's only been to like 1 or 2, maybe 3 Board of Aldermen meetings. So he doesn't possibly understand what the city of Troy needs, or what the aldermen, the current aldermen, have been doing, what they've been working toward, other than what he's been told. And apparently somebody has filled his head with nonsense, because he's talking about, in his article in the Lincoln County Journal, balancing our budget. I don't think we've ever gone without balancing the city budget. I think the budget is balanced every year. The problem with our budget is we're doing flat budgeting, and that's not proper. That's not the way that city's budget should be run. We ought to be on a zero balance budget. And flat budgeting, you're not budgeting anything for the future. You're just, a flat budget is saying that you're going to have no growth, you're going to have no increase in expenses, you're not going to have any increase in incoming funds. And that's wrong. Because at the end of the fiscal year from last year, from 22-23, the city of Troy carried over $20 million. I don't think we've got a deficit. I don't think we have a budget deficit like Alderman Leifert ran his campaign on. In order to have a deficit, you would have to spend money you don't have. Well, we've got plenty of money. We're just not spending it. What we're doing is we're not doing a proper budget. We need to start budgeting for the future of our city instead of trying to build up cash in the bank account. When you figure that we're the highest taxed city in this part of the state, it makes no sense that we should be carrying over $20 million from one year to the next. It's crazy that we have police officers leaving, we have city workers leaving, we have sewer collapses, we have water pipe problems, we have all number of problems that could be fixed if they spent a little money, and we got $20 million in the bank. That's crazy. Let's do a proper budget. Let's get some people in here that, some accounting people that can show the people how to do a budget, a proper budget. And I know the mayor, his thing is to do zero balance budgeting. That tells me that maybe he needs to talk to some financial people or something and figure out just exactly how to budget for a city, because he obviously doesn't know. But to try and vote out the alderman that has tried to put on the city on a path for the future seems kind of silly to me. I don't understand why Alderman Leifert would go out and recruit somebody isn't familiar with the town. I don't understand why Mayor Sconce would go out and recruit Randy Wyatt for alderman. And in Randy's journal piece that they interviewed him out on, he was asked why he was running for alderman, and he purely stated that because Mayor Sconce asked me to. Well, that's not a good reason. You know, if your heart's not in it, if your mind is not driven by wanting to see this city do better, then you shouldn't be running. you shouldn't even be on the ballot. As far as the other gentleman that's running against Harold Horner, it's Jack Madden. I don't know what he stands for. I mean, he's had nothing on Facebook. He's had nothing in the paper. As a matter of fact, I was told that he tried to drop out. He didn't want to run, and apparently they wouldn't let him because his name was already on the ballot or some such stuff. You know, if he doesn't want to run, say so. You know, step back, step down, whatever. But we don't need people that don't have an idea, doesn't have a clue as to what this city needs. I know with Mr. Quezada, I guess he gets all of his information from his handlers or from Mr. Lyford or whoever, because when I asked how many board meetings he had attended, his wife answered for him and said, well, he hasn't been to any, but he's got people going for him or something to that effect. Well, having people go to the board meeting for you is you know, that's not good either. I mean, if you don't have the time to go to a board meeting before the election, why would you have the time to go to a board meeting after the election? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But anyway, I'm throwing my support behind the current board members, Rachel and Harold and David Norman. I think they're doing a fantastic job with what the hand they've been dealt. I know our current mayor has told the board that the day-to-day operations of this city is not their concern. That couldn't be farther from the truth, as we found out with this Cherry Street debacle. That was directly under the guidance of our mayor, and look what we ended up with. The finished product is crap. That hump down at Front Street should have never been allowed to be left in there. The mayor had been notified that there was a problem with that and chose not to do anything about it. That roundabout, from what I understand, that was Mayor Cross's idea to put that in there, and I don't know who he consulted with or who he promised that roundabout to, but there's only one business down there that benefits from that roundabout, and that's People's Bank. And of course, we all know Alderman Lyford worked at People's Bank as vice president, I believe, of commercial loans. But you know, that's just strange to me that the only business to benefit from that roundabout is the bank. It definitely doesn't help the little liquor store. It doesn't help the laundromat. It doesn't help the little coffee shop over there. And it definitely does not help the traffic flow down Cherry Street. We had a street that the traffic flowed without a problem, and they threw that roundabout in there, and now it's a disaster. You know, if you want to chuckle every once in a while, go down and sit in the parking lot of the liquor store and watch the roundabout. You'll get a chuckle, and you know, you might get a scare or two too, because the traffic flow through there is terrible. But we've got to be able to depend on our aldermen to do the right thing for the citizens of this town. And currently, you know, the city, it looks like that the city's just really on a disaster course under the leadership of our current mayor. I know whenever the Cherry Street thing was going in, somehow or the other, I don't know, the Chamber of Commerce or somebody told people it was okay to cut through the parking lot of the where the barbershop is at. And from what I understand, that's a privately owned parking lot, and the owner of the park or the shopping center there had complained to the mayor, and the mayor promised promised that the city would come and fix that parking lot once this Cherry Street thing was completed and the project was over. He promised them that he'd make sure that they had their parking lot done. Well, as of today, it still hasn't been fixed. It still hasn't been, the damage that's done to the parking lot still hasn't been corrected. And of course, with some other things, Walter Wright, his wife was taken ill after the city had allowed Meridian Waste to pile up brush and this and that, junk yard waste, that kind of stuff, out there next to his house. And when he complained, the city went out there and just pushed it into the woods. They didn't clean it up. They didn't fix it. They just pushed it into the woods. Apparently, the DNR got wind of it and has told the city to clean it up, and it still hasn't cleaned up. And at Monday night's board meeting, from what I understand from the mayor, it's on video, he said that he had been in contact with the DNR and that they were going to work with the DNR to get it fixed. And apparently the people from the DNR was out at Walter Wright's home, I guess Tuesday after the board meeting, and what I was told was they didn't know anything about the city contacting the DNR. So I don't know, maybe the mayor got the wrong number, maybe he talked to the wrong people, but the DNR is definitely aware of the problem now. So, I mean, we don't need any more of that type of leadership in our city. We need people up there that we can trust, that we can depend on, that we know is going to do the job, and that's Rachel, Harold, and Dave, and Steve Jones, and I think Kay Dykemper is a good, honest person. I think she follows the lead of Alderman Leifert, and I think Alderman Leifert is working for the mayor rather than work for his constituents in Ward 1. And I don't think that's right. I think Alderman Leifert ought to be representing us. He ought to be representing the people that pay the taxes, the people that furnish the money to keep this city moving forward. And we're not being served right now. We're not getting what we paid for in, just brass tacks. We're not getting what we paid for. Our money is being put in a bank and they're sitting on it while our police officers leave, while our city workers, employees, public works people, when they leave, the infrastructure's falling apart, the streets are falling apart, and yet we're still the highest taxed city in this part of the state, and our money's sitting in the bank. If you're going to keep our money in the bank, lower our taxes. Quit taxing us out the nose. So at Monday night's board meeting, Alderman Leifert wanted to present an ordinance or a bill to form an ordinance for code of conduct. I am totally 100% against the bill as he presented it. Everything in that bill for code of conduct last weekend, I guess Alderman Leifert didn't like something that I said on Facebook, and he just excoriated me, tried to belittle me, tried to make me look stupid. That's what he does. That's what he does to people when he thinks that he's smarter than you. And that's what he did to Alderman Horner at a board meeting, a special board meeting when they were discussing the city administrator's position. Partway through the special board meeting, Alderman Leifert literally laughed at Alderman Horner. And it upset Alderman Horner. And I don't blame him. I would have been upset too. And Alderman Horner went off on him and just told him what he thought of him. Well, the next thing you know, we've got this code of conduct ordinance that Alderman Leifert wants to put into effect. And everything, just about everything on there, Alderman Leifert has already violated. So why did he put this together? Is it really a code of conduct ordinance, or is it something that he can beat people over the head with? Judging by the way he acts and judging by the way I've seen him treat people, I would say it's probably going to be used for a whipping post. I don't believe for a second that the Board of Aldermen in Troy need a code of conduct, because all the aldermen that I've ever known that's ever been in Troy, lived or been on the board in Troy, has been honorable people. And they may speak up when you step on their toes, or you make them feel small, or you belittle them, or you act like you're better than they are. But that's a natural reaction from anybody. So, do we need a code of conduct? Maybe, if it applies to everybody. But I don't think this code of conduct is going to apply to the people that it needs to be directed at. Because from what I've seen, Alderman Leifert doesn't even come close to upholding the spirit of this ordinance. He talks down to everybody he sees. I just don't think this is a good thing, and personally, I'm going to encourage my alderman from my ward to vote against it. Everybody's got the right to go to City Hall and state their opinion. You've got the right to sit in on board meetings. You've got the right to sit on workshops. You've got the right to have your say. You've got the right to speak up at City Hall. Get up and say whatever it is that's on your mind. When you sit back and don't take a stand on anything, then you're saying that's okay. Just keep putting that knife in our back. Just keep taking our money and putting it in a bank and not doing anything with it. That's our money. That should be in our pocket, in our bank account, not the city to sit there and just sit on it. You know, the city of Troy uses flat budgeting, and eventually it's going to all blow up in our face. And there's been other cities that's done this flat budgeting thing, and they eventually ended up in deep trouble. Winfield's been on flat budgeting, from what I understand, for several years, and now their city hall's only open 3 days a week because they blew all their money. Instead of budgeting it out, it all went in a general revenue fund, and now they got nothing left because there was nothing there to control the general revenue fund spending. That's going to be the plight of Troy, Missouri, if we don't speak up as taxpayers and citizens of this town. And if I'm wrong, I'll come on this channel and I'll apologize to everybody, but I don't think I'm wrong, and that's the reason why I approached the state auditor to do an audit of this city. I presented him with my information, our city budget, different things like that. Talked to him about some of the things that were going on. They apparently felt that there was enough sketchy stuff that they approved the budget, as long as we could get 800 signatures to trigger forensic audit. So we do have a petition going around. If you want to sign it, if you want to be part of this, to get this city in line the way it's supposed to be, spending our money the way it's supposed to be, let me know. I'll leave my email, my phone number at the end of this video, and we'll get somebody to you so you can get your signature on that petition, because I think we need it. There's something going on with our funding here in the city. There's got to be a reason why we carry over $20 million this year. Last year we carried over, I think it was $18 million. And there's got to be a reason why they're not budgeting our money the way they should be. I don't believe for a second that we've got deficit spending. I think that's a hoax. I don't think that it's happening in our community. But if you don't feel that way, you're welcome to come on here and we'll sit down and you can do the video and we'll post it. If you got any questions, feel free to contact me through Facebook or email. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.